the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this first digital Nordic SUN meeting, day 2. And for those who were attending yesterday, welcome back. And for those who are attending the first time today, you are most warmly welcome as well. My name is Juho Impivaara, and I work in Laerdal, Finland as a territory manager. And this webinar is broadcasted from Vantaa, from Finland. And Vantaa is located just close to Helsinki. So you might be familiar with the location. Overall information, how we gonna do this webinar today. I'll be working as a host in our office here in Vantaa, and we will have a presentation from our keynote speaker Jukka Seppänen, who will present himself more precisely in a bit. But before we continue, we are trying to make this as interactive as possible. And for able to do that, we need your help to help us through to get the interactive to our webinar. So if you have any questions, please use the question and answer box that you can found below in the middle in your Zoom. Or then if you have any comments, any best practices you want to share, in that case, please use the chat box. Questions, if you might have those, like I mentioned, please use the question and answer box so we can track them easily, and if we don't have time to go them all through, then we can answer your question afterwards. But next we will hear a presentation. How did they manage to support learning and engagement in remote and web-based simulation in Kajaani? And as I mentioned about the interactive points, we will have some questions which are in the Zoom. So first of all, we're gonna have our rehearsal questions. And you should be able to see it now on your device that you're using for this webinar. So please go ahead and ask the questions. Where are you from? And you have about 30 seconds time to answer the questions. Okay, and I think we're ready to proceed. And as we can see here in the answers, that we have participants almost all the Nordic countries, and most of our attendees are from Norway today, but also from Denmark and Finland and from Sweden as well. So welcome all. And before we move to Kajaani, I want to ask another questions regarding to Kajaani. So please answer the next question that you should be able to see. Okay, and then we have some technical problems with the questions, but nevertheless, next I will move this broadcast about 550 kilometers northeast from Vantaa to Kajaani. And at the same time, I can see that we have the questions on the screen now. So before I let Jukka to continue, please, before that, answer the next question, please. Have you ever visited Kajaani? Yes. Okay, as you can, Jukka, maybe see as well that most of our participants have not visited in Kajaani, which I'm not surprised. And there are some people as well who have no idea whereabouts in Finland Kajaani is. So please, Jukka, go ahead and introduce yourself, and maybe it's a good idea to tell something about Kajaani as well in the beginning. So please go ahead, Jukka.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Juho. And thank you for this opportunity to come to discuss with all of you about the simulation, and especially how we can support not patient, but the participant learning processes by engaging them during the simulation. It's always fun to speak English online with just a big international audience. But I think we all have had a very interesting past year, which has forced us to rethink our approaches for example simulation from a new point of view. And these are the issues that I like to discuss with you. So at the beginning, I probably share my screen. Let's hope it works well. You can show some marks, Juho, if everything works well, and you can see my presentation.
You're good to go.
Excellent. Okay, so the topic of today is the way how we can support learning and engagement in remote and web-based simulation. So who am I? My name is Jukka Seppänen. As you have just told, I'm a registered nurse, and also have a master's degree in nursing science. And shortly, my clinical background came from the acute and ambulatory care. And also, I've been working as a field nurse in Finnish Border Guard organization about 10 years. I'm not very industrious publisher, but I think that someone must do the real work, right? Well, no, I'm just kidding. We really need the research and evidence all the time, and all of our activities should base on that. But personally, I've been very enthusiastic against the nursing simulation from the beginning, 2008 or 9, here in Kajaani. And the simulation method is very close to my own philosophy, how I want to learn myself new skills and knowledge. Also, I strongly involved of our first simulation environment project in 2010, and how we on that time implemented simulation method to our nursing curriculum and education. So this is a shortly introduction, who am I? And as many of you just told me in the previous quiz that you don't have a clue about the Kajaani, a few words about it. So the Kajaani is a little bit more than 500 kilometers north from Helsinki. We have a Kainuu region around us, and the Kajaani is a regional center with a population almost 38,000 inhabitants. The Kainuu region is a relatively sparsely populated, so-called rural area. In the whole Kainuu region, the population density is only 3.5 inhabitants per square kilometer. So we have a lot of space here. I think that's the one main reason why we really are interested in our university in the remote pedagogy and remote methods. Kajaani University of Applied Science, we have a new strategy here, and the new strategy named our university as a small, big university. We are relatively small. I think we are the second smallest in Finland. Our main, how can I say, focus is that we are very agile university. We work very closely with the working life, so-called working life based, and we also are very regional effective university, as I can say so. So the Kajaani University of Applied Science organized nursing education in several towns around our region, and even the outside of our region. For example, in Kuusamo, which is 250 kilometers north from Kajaani, and also in Suomussalmi, Kuhmo, and this autumn we start nursing program also in Raahe, which is 200 kilometers west from Kajaani. So we have several places where we organize education. So this is the first words about the Kajaani University. That way, okay. So the content of this this opportunity and this webinar is, I can name it like the wind of change. I would like to share with you that what are the key factors which force us to change and develop our mindsets of today's working life and education. Also during this webinar, I would like to tell you that how we have started here in Kajaani to rethink nursing simulation and the whole nursing education from the new point of view. I also tell you shortly our latest health tech simulation and test environment, so-called project Studio K, and how we put Laerdal sim capture inside the Microsoft Teams, and how we can facilitate remote simulation around the region. And actually, we do it in Northern Europe. Also, in this afternoon, I give you a few examples how we have done it, how we have run through the remote simulation, and also how we run through the web-based, totally web-based simulation from our studio. Also for the later discussion, I would like to already you to start to think that how we can support students in their learning processes more efficiently by using different remote technologies. And is there a single application or program to engage students during the simulation better than all the others? So we get back of these issues in the end of the session. Okay, so why we need to find the new ways to learn. Many things that it's because of COVID-19, but not only because of COVID-19. Actually, we started to rethink our teaching method seriously about the 5-6 years ago here in Kajaani University. And behind of all that was the nature of our region and our university's multiple units, which I already mentioned. Long before the COVID-19 pandemic, we have been witnessed giant step of digitalization of the whole society and the nation, and not only the social and healthcare. In healthcare development of remote healthcare services and different telemedicine solution has increased very fast. I think all of us can have been witnessed that. Like different remote solution for clinical consultation, diagnostics, observations, monitoring, treatments, and clinical decision and recommendations. And the new competence is required. We can't survive with the old knowledge and skills. Also, from the educational perspective, the new knowledge and skills are crucial. We have been recognized that we have to pay more attention for students' opinions. They're expecting more and more time and location independent learning opportunities. Our students, as I mentioned, came from the afar, and they really shouldn't, we shouldn't force them to drive here in campus for only take part to some single lesson or some single simulation. So that is the student-friendly perspective also. In the big picture, also the Finnish government support lifelong learning activities, and our point of view, this kind of educational activity is effective for that. We make a lot of collaboration with the university and working life, especially Kajaani Social and Healthcare Joint Authority and local central hospital. The collaboration is very tight. We have not to define it, but we have built up the method, the so-called multi-location classroom, which is just the virtual window between the university and local hospital. So no matter where the education and session are keeping the observers, or the learning situation can be both sides, and the observers can be the both sides. So the virtual window, I think that is a good term to define that method. Sorry. So we started the project Studio Core in spring 2019, and we get the funding to our project from the European Fund of Regional Development. The main goals in that project was to enhance attraction toward the local healthcare education and create a new health tech innovation in the area. Also, to establish new ways to apply remote healthcare services by piloting new technologies and processes, to create a positive imaging for the field of the healthcare, and also to promote the product development and business activities of local healthcare enterprises. So the goals were like that. When we talk about the more practical perspective, the aim of the project and the idea was to design, build, and equip a new health tech simulation and test environment which take into account the specialties of this area and the need of the rural area in the big picture. So we want to create a learning environment where the students can take part from the distance, and the participation should be as real time and interactive as possible. And above all, it should offer something brand new. not only for the nursing simulation, but also this kind of studio to bring learning environment to everyone's living room. That means that the multipurpose TV studio vision. The new learning environment, we started to think that the environments have to be comfortable, cozy, and attractive at the same time, and which tempt students to learn, not just push them away like the boring classroom. I think we all know that the new technology could be quite tricky sometimes, and because the learning environment was designed for every teacher for our university, and also we make a collaboration with the vocational college. The environment was designed for vocational college teachers also. So the vision was to build so-called one-button operation system, easy to start and easy to carry out any kind of training session, because we have not only for the simulation facilitators, that the teachers who are familiar with the technology, but with all the users, all the teachers. Well, unfortunately, it didn't succeed, simply because there is so much new technology in our environment, and that to start everything by pushing just one button, I think it's a mission impossible. During the planning process, we really try to focus the audio issues on the environment, and we plan it and discuss it together with the specialists of the Laerdal and the local audio technology companies, so that how we hope that the studio sound would be without any distraction and the picture would be clear all the time. We really try to focus the audio of the environment. And in that point of view, I think we manage it very well. So I have a few pictures about the new ways, the new environment also. As you probably see from the pictures, so-called the open environment, there is a big glass around the room. There is just 12 seats, big screens for debriefing and for interaction with the participants. We have one screen for virtual reality system and a few simulators, and the remote and debriefing system came from the Laerdal SIM capture, and the platform what we use is the Microsoft Teams.
I think this is a good point to take maybe another question. Maybe you can put on the next slide already.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so as you can see in the pictures, we can see images from the Studio K, as you can mention, and as you might all notice, it's a bit different if you compare it to the traditional simulation room, where there's hardly any windows and no one can see what is happening behind those magic doors. So you have, before the question, do you have, Jukka, any comments on this new studio layout?
Yeah, well, the idea was that we try to build the working life perspective, that also for the make a participant a little bit pressure for during their action, like they have to manage when they practice in the real life or with the real patient. So point of that open learning environment is that everybody, because the university teaching is open for everybody, everyone can follow our simulation and education if they like. So at the same time, this is the hidden aim of the simulation.
Yeah. How do you feel it if you compare it to the old way of doing this in the behind the hidden doors? So what is the feedback you have been got from the students?
Actually, the feedback from the students has been very positive, because they are so inside the simulation that they don't notice the observations outside.
Yeah.
Which is just surprising.
Yeah. Okay, I think we should pop up the next questions and to our participant in the webinar that how do you think that this kind of a simulation environment would be functional within your organizations? So please type in your answer and let's see how it's going to be. And I think we are pretty much ready. So let's see the scores in a bit.
50-50.
Yeah, 50-50, and I'm thrilled to see it. It is like this, and it is very good results, I must say.
Yeah, it's interesting to discuss at the end of the session about this.
Yeah, please go ahead and let's go forward.
Okay, can I close the? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in our environment, the Microsoft Teams and the Laerdal Sim Capture works hand by hand, as you see on the right picture. This one button principle works very good for the participants. The facilitators have to send them only the one Teams invitation, and they can follow the whole simulation or other learning situation from the beginning till the end via Teams. And the facilitators just control the student's screen by sharing the sim capture for them when it's necessary. So we can use this environment also without the sim capture. So in some case there is no any need to open sim capture, and the interaction run through the Teams. When the teams and the participants are connected with the studio via Teams, we can create the very interactive conversation and discussion with no matter where the students are. Did you have another questions for that?
I think it's after the next slide when you will talk about more about the different platforms of doing the remote simulation. So
no, it's here.
Okay, yeah, we can have it now. So it was a question about the
platforms.
Yeah, about the platforms.
Yeah, we use the Teams, and also there is a Zoom and Google Meets and others. So
yeah, so we just wanna find out that what kind of different platforms you are using in a Nordic countries, and if you are answering other, then please write your answers to the chat so we can have some kind of overall pictures of those applications that you're using for this kind of simulation setup. And we will wait a few seconds before we go and see the answers.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can see the results there, and yeah, most of the people are using Zoom, and then the rest. Well, actually, the second biggest group is using other, and then Teams is there as well.
Yeah, the Teams was quite nature choose to us because the Teams is we use it a lot of our university overall. So that's why the Teams also the Teams are familiar for other the university colleagues and the working life. So that's why we choose the Teams.
Yeah, and maybe at this point, I want to mention as well there's a comment in chat that we haven't used any platforms. So that being said, I think that could be actually the most common answer to these questions, because I think the remote simulation it's not something that folks are doing in their everyday simulation learning.
Yeah, but it's interesting to hear that what are those other platforms. Okay, let's continue then. Next we go a little bit deeper, and I give you a few examples how we have run through the remote and web-based simulation and what kind of feedback we have get from those. The first case is about the remote simulation. The project, we get the environment done in June 2020 in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and we couldn't use and pilot this environment in the beginning of the autumn. But by the end of the year 2020, we have start over and start to use this environment. And the one case was that we apply this remote simulation in advanced studies in acute nursing, where the participant came from the Riga University colleagues and the Kajaani University of Applied Science. And the remote simulation topic was the post-operative delirium. Even if we handling during the course different kind of somatic acute issues, we also handle the acute mental disorders. And beforehand, in advance, we gave students the material and the learning tasks via Moodle. And at the beginning of the session, we keep the short mini lecture by using the visual summary of the knowledge. What is the hyperactive and hyperactive delirium? What is the mixed type of how we can recognize the delirium? What are the consequences and how we can avoid the delirium and so on. So then we have a simulation that we run through the simulation in campus in Studio Co, where inside the simulation the Finnish teacher was a patient and the actors were the Kajaani University students. And the other participants and the observers located on campus Studio Co, Finnish students, and in Riga students, they were at home. And the remote participants follow the simulation via their laptop by using Teams. So there was another facilitators who share the screen and run the simulation when the other teacher was a patient. And the facilitators control the student screen by sharing the sim capture when it needed. The learning goals during the simulation was that the students was able to recognize the disturbance behavior based on those previous DSM-5 guidelines. Also, they were able to assess the severity of the patient's condition via video connection. Also, to be able to consult the specialist by applying ISPAR method, and that the students be able to share the situation awareness between colleagues and peers during the simulation. So those were the simulation goals, learning goals. Okay, so I like to ask you that, have you ever used a remote simulation in your organization? I think there's Juho have some questions for you. Oh yes.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we want to find out next that have you done any remote simulations in your organization, that or have you attended as a participant for such a thing? So please go ahead and tick your answer there. And we will still wait a few seconds people to answer the question, and then we can see the results again. Okay, then I think we're ready, and let's see how it's gonna be. Yeah, so most of the people haven't done it yet, but they are interested in participate and execute in remote simulations. And this is also very positive thing to read, I must say, and maybe it's a good point to mention at this point that when you were building the Studio K, it was before COVID-19.
Yeah.
Actually, so it has nothing to do with the COVID that you started to do the simulation like this. If I remember correctly, it was pretty much during the first lockdown information given in Finland that we just finished the installation there in Kajaani, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's true. I think we in Finland and in Kajaani, I think it's got national point of view, the so-called service design method. We have to take more account our client's perspective and thoughts, and our clients are students. So what are their expectations are, and what they like, how they like to learn. So we have to run with them, not just make our own plans, so-called. Okay, so the next, this is just the short description about the simulation, and then just a few words about the web-based simulation, and the final I tell you that how we engage the students in the simulation. So the next example is the case is the web-based simulation. What we make this spring with the students, nursing students from the town of Kuusamo, which is 250 kilometers from here. The whole simulation was online. The study was mental health care studies, and the simulation topic was a depressed young adult. For students, we give the advanced material and learning tasks also in Moodle, and we build them a short proficiency quiz to make sure that the basic knowledge, the baseline of the knowledge, that they handle the situation. And also for the patient and the parent, we give them the detailed script, but not the nurses. This is just the picture of that screen picture about that simulation. So both the patient and the patient's parent and the actors were nursing students. All the participants were at home. We give the good briefing and script for the actors by email in advance, but not the nurses. And the topic about that web-based simulation was a video contact to the psychiatric emergency service. It's a little bit the future perspective. In Finland, we don't have the video contact opportunity for the patients to call psychiatric emergency service, but by phone they have. So there was a depressed young adult and a very frantic parent, and the two nurses, one of the nurses were on call, so who answer the phone and make the decision and make the discussion with the patient and the parent. And the other nurse was a backup nurse, so-called, who followed the chat, which was in Teams, where the other participants were able to make the notice and instructions for the nurse on call, and also she gives support to the nurse on call. The nursing goals during that web-based simulation was that the nurses were able to recognize and evaluate the severity of the threat on the client's mental condition, able to secure the client's physical and mental safety, assess the patient's need for care, and also able to consult other healthcare professionals by applying ISPAR method. So maybe the point is that how we support learning and engage students during the both simulation. In the remote one, we use a Mentimeter application. There is a chat opportunity, like the whiteboard. We have one screen where the nurses who were actors in the simulation, the observers could give them their observation and maybe the help and instructions, what they should ask for the patient, what kind of things they should focus, and so on. And also, when the one goal was in remote simulation was the consultation, we give them opportunity to consultate each other. So everyone have to be well prepared, those students, because everyone could be consulted. So the students' perspective, they say that they have to stay awake, they have to stay alert, and they stay focused on the business all the time, because they have to be consulted. On web-based one simulation, we use a very similar chat opportunity via Teams, where the observers make the observations and help and instructions for the support nurse, if I can say so, who support the nurse on call. And also in the web-based simulation, they consultate by calling one of the observers, and everyone could be consulted, and they have to stay awake and alert and stay focused on business. So we asked the feedback for the students from that.
Jukka, can I interrupt for a second?
Oh yes.
Yeah, this is good slide to stop. Since the Mentimeter was a brand new thing for me to be said, so maybe we have a question according to that. So if you could answer that question next. So Mentimeter or meter, which one is it? What kind of application is that? So please type in your answers, and then Jukka can tell us a little bit more if needed.
Actually, it's Mentimeter.
Yeah, that's right. misspelled, sorry for that, but yeah, Mentimeter. Okay, let's see the result and decide what we're gonna do next.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 35% haven't heard about it. 35% is familiar with the, and 16% haven't used it, and 14% would like to know more. So maybe you just give us a quick brief. How did you use it, and was it beneficial for you?
Yeah. So the application is very easy to use and very easy to build. The facilitator just make the quiz or so-called word cloud or other activity very easily, just a few minutes you can make it. And the users use it or answer or make the notice or observations or by using their smartphones. So it's very easy to use, and it's very easy to engage students with this. And we have used it, for example, at the beginning and at the end of our session, just to gather the feelings before and after, and maybe see the change of behavior or thinking about the simulation. It's informative, and the participant can share their feelings, which is, for example, at the beginning they can share the feelings that, okay, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I don't know what's going on, and so on. So it's important for reduce stress and tension when we start to do the simulation, for example. So it's quite complicated to explain. If we ask the feelings, that some kind of word cloud is start to build, and the more the similar words came from the participants, the word is the bigger. So we can share the feelings and the thoughts from the participants. It's just one way to use it. We can make the short quiz or so on with that application. It's very useful and easy to use.
Yes, thank you, Jukka.
Okay, then we ask the feedback from the students, and this is very surprised us that actually we get 18 answers, and 4.8 was the average from this that simulation, and everybody strongly recommended with that method. Even they keep it better than the traditional simulation, because the simulation hooked all the time. They think it was very easy to focus and concentrate because they were just alone with the screen, and they don't have opportunity to discuss or make any other activity during the simulation. They keep it very highly educational situation, and it allows very good engagement during the whole simulation. And the whole group took part when they make a chat, and they was very easy to follow actors' expressive behavior and facial expression when there was a big screen what they're watching. So many of those students think that they really need that kind of competence in the future, even if they that kind of opportunity they don't precisely have, make the video contact with the psychiatric emergency unit or something like that. But the feedback was excellent. From our point of view, when we talk about the web-based simulation, is that it's very important to have a good script, and we have to orientate and instruct the actors very well. The students are the overall students are very ready and familiar with using technology. So the question is that, are we so ready and familiar? For the topic, the mental health, it's for the web-based simulation fits very well. The issues, the mental health issues handle in the method of web-based, because we don't need clinical skills and clinical competencies to do. It's the discussion and evaluation, the person expressions and so on. When we are ready to manage the devices and applications, students feel very strong engagement during the simulation. So that the COVID-19 has created a new normal for us. So the question is that are we ready for that? Do we have ourselves enough competence to tackle that challenge? So at the beginning of the session, I asked you the question that how can we support students in their learning processes more efficiently by using different remote technology, or is there any single application or program to engage students during the simulation better than all the others? I really like to open the questions, and if you have any thoughts or innovation that, or have you used, or if you have any questions, I will really glad to answer.
Thank you, Jukka, for your I must say outstanding presentation.
Don't say.
And project as well. We have a few questions here, and if we go back to the setup of your studio, there's a question or comment that the big window looks nice. However, is the window really needed if there are several cameras and microphones in the room, and the students can follow the situation online? So, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, of course. In that case, we don't need a big screens. If I understand the questions correct, so if all the participants are removed, in that case we don't need the big screen. But also the point is, we all know that the simulation based the learning from the simulation based on the debriefing, and if some part of the participants are from the distance and some part are in some other environment, it's very crucial that we have face-to-face interaction. So in that case, if everybody is abroad or not abroad, but from the distance, we don't need the big screen. Was that the questions?
Maybe it's enough for that, and also obviously you can ask further details if that wasn't answered correct.
Yeah,
to the questions. And then what was the group size when operating and debriefing remote simulations?
In remote simulation, we have a group size where we have I think 12 students from Kajaani University, I think 17 students from Riga University College. So it's about the 30 approximately.
Okay. And then do you have any experience with having clinicians from practicing in this type of simulations as doctors or experienced nurses?
You mean the multi-professional simulation?
Yeah.
No, from the studio. We have planned, we have a new hospital here in Kajaani town, a brand new hospital, and we have planned to run through the simulation, that they have a trauma simulation in the real in situ simulation, and we used the cameras and the observers are in the simulation environment. So that is the first when we build the multi-professional simulation where the actors are inside the hospital and the observers are students from inside the school, but not yet.
Yeah, this comment that 30 students, are they all active at the same time or are some observing?
Everybody's acting. When we talk about the remote simulation, means that there is always just a few actors who are inside the hot seat, making that situation in the simulation. No matter if the patient is the simulator or the real patient, but not all the participants are not actors.
But I guess earlier you mentioned that everyone could be consulted. So in a way they are active.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because they all have to have the knowledge for handle the patient, to guide the patient. So in that point of view, everybody are taking some part of the simulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Jukka. We still have a few minutes left. So please, if you have any other questions, please write them to the question and answer box. So we can wait a few seconds, new questions to come. But if we don't have any left, we are used our time pretty precisely at the moment. So I want to thank you, Jukka, already for participating for this first digital Nordic SUN meeting, and you did a great job and give a great perspective. How did you manage to tackle these weird times that we are facing at the moment?
My pleasure.
Yeah, there's a comment that the reference you used on your slide for delirium, could you share that?
Yeah, sure. If I can send it for you, so you can send it forward. Is
yeah,
it okay?
Yeah, we can do that. And this event will be recorded, and you can find it from a Nordic SUN webpage, where you can actually find all these webinars that we're holding this week. So if we don't have any more questions at the moment, let me just check the chat first. There's none there, and that's free. Yeah. So I think we can wrap up our webinar, and I want to thank you everyone for attending. And please remember that we will continue tomorrow as well. So stay tuned and have a nice rest of the day. And thank you, Jukka.
Thank you.
At Laerdal, we believe in helping save lives. We work towards improving quality of healthcare, from basic solutions to high-tech innovations. We work with doctors, nurses, researchers, educators, and some of the most influential public and private organizations around the world. It's our goal to help save 1 million lives every year by 2030. We'll do this by focusing on early interventions with high life-saving potential, and by enabling technologies to reduce the quality gap from learning to patient outcomes. But we know we can't do it alone. It's through our active partnerships that we can have the greatest impact. By using evidence-based solutions and collaborating with researchers and partners around the world, we deliver products and programs and cutting-edge technology. We also offer experience, expertise, and access to the best minds. But our products and programs don't save lives. people do. We help healthcare providers to be competent and confident. Our future depends on what we do now. So we're committed to creating sustainable solutions that contribute to a better world. We're more than 1,600 people in 25 countries working towards a common mission. Our mission is helping save lives, one life at a time.